Yeah, there have been a couple of things that have been going on. Namely, yesterday we've got a new trailer for Dragon Age Veilguard. So let me start with that topic. And for the Veilguard, we do know that we had the meeting or the San Diego Comic-Con, where we had the game devs and also the voice actors present. They've been discussing a little bit more about with the people there about the game. Not really anything new, because I guess they didn't want to spoil anything that much. But they did provide a little bit more information there. It was also summarized in a Tumblr summary or article by one person, for which I'm very grateful. So I will be sharing that article in a link below when I'm going to provide you with the recorded session. And what was for me a little bit, let's say kind of weird, or I'm not really having a great feeling from this type of marketing, to be honest. And that is that most of the marketing, or most of the information that we had until yesterday, that is, was focused on relationships and like companions, characters. Yeah. There was a lot of talk about, let's say, the in-game sexuality of the characters, and how many romances you can have and how they're going to romance each other, etc. And the whole marketing was focused on that, like I said. I'm just not sure that this is the, let's say, right type of marketing for an action RPG, and I think that is also why we had so many people with negative reactions to that, or why so many people have been disappointed by what they have seen so far. Yesterday, of course, that vid came out, and I think it was a little bit better. We started to receive the information from the game devs about end of May, start of June. We've got the first trailer, and we've got the gameplay, 20 minutes of gameplay. I did a recap on that, as you can see, and then by the end of July, we had a couple of updated information, which was, just very coming in very small packages. So I did a summary here as well in two parts. It was a lot in the end, but mainly because I am chatty and I'm talking a lot. So I put my thoughts in here as well, into whether I perceive something negatively or positively. And again, on this spot, I do not want to bash the game because it's not out yet and I haven't seen it, but I'm also not one of those who are going to overly praise it, because it's for me currently kind of a 50-50 feeling. So there are some vids where I have summarized what happened before, and then, as I mentioned, this is the Tumblr summary of the San Diego Comic-Con, the panel which was there, the discussion. As I said, I will post the link below so you can read through that. It's a transcript, so it should be pretty much word for word what happened there. And then what also happened was that we had an additional summary done from the Edge magazine, which came out, and there was a little bit more compacted information regarding the updates. It was partially something that I have already discussed in June and July, and there is also partially some new information. If you look at the, let's say, evolution of the perception of the game by the gamers, we did have the first trailer, which was the one we have seen in June, beginning of June. And if you look at the ratio, I'm not saying it's completely correct, because of course this is a add-on, but it does say a lot. If you look at the reactions, we see 45k positive reviews or positive feedback and likes, and 50.7k dislikes. So that means for me 50-50, and I guess it's just reflecting sort of my feeling as well about the game. So the start of the trailers, or the first things, or the first views that we have seen, yeah, it wasn't perceived so greatly. And then we've got the 20 minutes of the gameplay, and as you can see, there was still some dislikes, but the ratio is much better already after that gameplay. So you can see we have 86k likes and 28.9 or 29k dislikes. It is still a lot. Many of the dislikes here, I guess that's the points where people were not so fond of seeing certain changes, just like I was. But in general, I did like the gameplay much more than I liked the first original trailer, I will be honest. And I think that's reflected as well here as a sentiment by most of the gamers or most of the people that have seen it. And if we look at the trailer from yesterday, you can see that it is now, let's say, on a good path, because we have 35k likes and 3.1k dislikes. And I think this is really great, that the devs managed to show us something more, not just, talking about the relationships and the romances, because for a lot of people this might be important, but for a lot it will be not, and they are more focused on something else. And I think that something else was shown here in that trailer. I will come back to that. I just wanted to mention something more. So there is something which is related to the combat. It was posted on Twitter, as you can see, and this is something that was probably the thing that was so negatively perceived. And it is saying that Rook will have access to runes, which functions as an ability, and a special ultimate ability. So you're bringing 5 distinct abilities with you into the combat. And those are tied to core moves, like, for example, jump and attack with twin blades, etc. For me, it's still only 3 skills or 3 abilities. I cannot actively use more than 3, as you can see on the screen. So this is for me one of the biggest downsides currently from what I have seen. I did discuss it in my previous vids as well. I think this is something that many people not see that positively. And then we had the additional information that the Veilguard doesn't give full control over companions, and it was detrimental. I understand that this is a move in the game from more, let's say, tactical combat more to the action style or action RPG combat. I don't know how much of this will be impacting negatively the gameplay and how it will be perceived then in the game. For me, again, this is something that's not the greatest information, to be honest. I know that I will have 1 companion less already, so instead of 3 companions, I can only take 2 companions. I do have only 3 skills, and those 2 companions that I have with me also only have 3 skills. So for me, that's a big limitation compared to what it was previously and what we have seen previously in the previous Dragon Age games. And I am honestly not really that fond of this change, but like I said, I already mentioned that one. And on top of all that, the additional info that we've got was, well, the companions all have like a separate life or a life of their own, which is natural, of course. But it also means that they will just wander off on their own. You might not be able to reach them or meet them whenever you want to, because they will go on and let's say do their own missions whether you are there or not. Again, that is something that I don't really see that positively, because for me it means like if I want to take a specific person to a specific quest that I'm about to do, and I would like to have that person there because of their skills or maybe because of their like companion, which we have seen, for example, Davrin has the Griffin. So if I want to have them there and they are not available because they wandered off, I don't feel like I am the main character in the game, or Rook in this case, right? It makes me feel like Rook is just an NPC that's along for the ride. I don't know. I don't really have a good feeling from that. The question is how it will be really in the game. Maybe there will be a point when you will know that they are about to leave, so you can technically stop them. Or they will let you know where they are, so you can find them nevertheless. So that's a good question how it will be working in the game. But in case it's really like somewhere in the background happening and they are just leaving and you have no clue that they have left and you have no way of finding them later, then this is not exactly a great move, to be honest. So yeah, that's not the best thing that for me. Yeah, there was also there was also something mentioned about like having more time pressure than we had in the previous games. Again, I'm not sure if I'm so fond of that. Sure, it makes no sense when you have a game where somebody tells you you have to fulfill something urgently because, I don't know, the world's falling down without you and you have to resolve it, and then you have time like 150 hours to explore the area around you. Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense. I agree. But on the other hand, if you say there will be a sense of urgency and how it will be demonstrated in the game, that's what I'm wondering about. Will it be that you will have some timed quests, like you have to start the quest until a certain time passes or certain events pass? How it will manifest? So that's a good question. And if you will be strolling around the area too long and too much, will you be able then, to jump back quickly into action and, let's say, save something in the very last minute before you, let's say, run out of time? Or will it be blocked for you then to access, like some quests? I don't know. I'm wondering about this one, to be honest. Depending on how this will be in the game and how the effect will be, for me it will be either a positive or negative impact. What I said about the NPCs, or the feeling as if I am an NPC, if you're playing as Rook and the companions will, let's say, wander off, and if you are going to talk to them, and if you are about to, let's say, do this world saving missions, how are they going to perceive you? And I'm a little bit wary here as well, considering the previous experiences with the Mass Effect series, for example. The original trilogy was one where you have seen a lot of, let's say, respect from your companions towards Shepard. But I do believe it was partially because simply it was a military setting. But I have mentioned this in Mass Effect Andromeda a couple of times, and it is something that I found a bit weird, that you have a Pathfinder who's supposed to be leading a team of people. You have very important missions, and oftentimes the Pathfinder felt just like a secondary character to somebody else because they also just, wandered off or completely ignored Ryder, etc. So the feeling when playing the game was one of weird behavior from your companions. I'm not sure if that is something that I would love to see in the next Dragon Age game. So it will be, for me, it will be also important how the main character is tied to the others. Is there at least some respect over there? So yeah, question mark here from my side. Let me go back probably to the trailer that was released, and maybe let's quickly watch it together. There was a release date announced. The release date for the game is Halloween, so the 31st of October. Let's go a little bit through the trailer and then I will share my thoughts, which I have here in the notes. So let me switch back. It is 3 minutes long. That was the nice bit. So normally the trailers are a bit shorter and this one was 3 minutes long. So it's good because we could see a ton of the gameplay as well. A lot of more like info about the companions. If you look at it, you will get a lot of the info just from watching it. And also I think we have a better idea what the story will be about. So let me just play the trailer.
You have no idea what you have done. The blighted elven gods walked free, all because you disrupted my ritual.
You battle against gods. They will not rest until you are on your knees. Fearful, cowering, helpless in the face of such power.
Rook, you've got this. I've seen your work. You're clever, adaptable, and you don't know when to quit.
You want allies to go after the gods? I've got places to look.
Where do we start? I'll be damned. A griffin. In war, victory. I'm ready.
I've never seen this before. There's something kind of exciting about it. What is happening to me?
Let the Fade draw close!
Draw the dragon out into the open. Then attack.
You and me, Rook. Maybe that's what scares me.
These are the times in which legends are born or slain.
Our gods are back. Our gods. How do we stand against that?
I believe in all of us, so let's get it done.
So for me, what I have noticed here, or what I have observed from the trailer, is that Harding seems to have the same abilities as Sandal. So obviously there is something going on with Harding, why she can turn the enemies to stone. I was wondering how she's able to do that, because she's a dwarf. So dwarves normally don't really have magic or magical abilities, aside from some impact from the lyrium. So that was the only thought or the idea that I had. Okay, this is probably then caused by some lyrium, or there is some effect from lyrium coming here to enhance her abilities, or maybe it's the weakening of the veil. I'm not sure, but she's actually not the only one who has this like magical ability and who's not a mage. Lucan is also the rogue. He has, I'm sure you have noticed, he has this kind of purple magical wings, which is, I'm sure, very helpful when he's the so-called mage killer and he's going to hunt down the mages. I guess the blood mages, of course. But still, it's giving me kind of a weird feeling because the three classes that we were used to, the warrior and the rogue and the mage, are not anymore so defined, I would say. It looks like there is some interconnection or intersection between those classes. And it's kind of weird, like I say. So it will be interesting to see also the abilities in the skill tree that everybody has, if there are actually, like for a rogue or for a warrior, some kind of abilities that they could use which are connected to some type of magic, considering, like I said, probably the weakening veil. So that one is something that I have noticed, and I think a lot of other people have noticed that as well. Morrigan is back. So for me, what that was, it was an indicator that there will be more people from the past games coming into Dragon Age Veilguard. We already knew that we will be able to import the Inquisitor from Dragon Age Inquisition. Now we have seen Morrigan here. I am wondering if there will be other characters that can appear as well, namely Sandal. Everybody's talking about Sandal. So yeah, I'm wondering about him. But in general, because Morrigan is not a character that you could choose as a companion, and neither is Varric, I am wondering still about their role in the game. And I think I'm not the only one. I think there are more people, of course, who are also wondering about the importance of these two characters in the game and what kind of role are they going to play. As mentioned previously, we have seen that Varric has lost his Bianca. Solas has destroyed the biggest love of Varric's life, I would say. So I'm not sure, like I said, how he will be portrayed in the game. There's a lot of talk about Varric dying, that he will probably die. I certainly hope not. It would not be so great. He's one of the really favorite characters from all of the Dragon Age games. So yeah, that's a good question. The surroundings look great. And we need more info on combat still. I am still, let's say, not convinced from the combat side. So that one's kind of a lacking. As I said, I'm not fond of the downgrading to just having 3 skills. When I'm just currently comparing it to Mass Effect Andromeda, which I'm playing, it is relatively easy to have just 3 abilities in something like Andromeda, because it's a sci-fi and you are basically shooting with modern firearms. Whether you are using those skills and abilities or not, it doesn't really make that much difference. But this one is not a sci-fi game, it's a fantasy game. You are using melee weapons, and if you're using melee weapons, it's not so easy to bring down your enemies. It's not so fast, and also you have to get quite close. So the abilities are very important for you that you can use in a fight. And like I said, if you are just having 3, yeah, the game seems to be a full continuation this time of Dragon Age Inquisition. And we used to see in the previous games that the games did not necessarily continue the story from the previous game. So Dragon Age 2 didn't continue the same story which we have seen in Dragon Age Origins. Yes, we did have some cameos, appearances from the characters from the first game there. But it was a separate game, which was about a completely new character with a completely new setting. And it wasn't necessarily important whether you have played the first game or not. And the same was basically also with Dragon Age Inquisition. Yes, Hawk was there for a tiny bit of time, but again, it was a separate story with different characters, and you didn't really necessarily have to play the previous game to know what was going on. But this one looks to be a continuation, so this is something that would be unusual for Dragon Age, I would say, but quite welcome, to be honest, because it would give probably us the option to, get some closure on some of the companions and some of the happenings which are going on. Yeah, like I mentioned, there are quite a few non-mages or characters which are not mages, which have like magical abilities. I'm wondering how it will be explained in game, like what sort of explanation we get, if it's like in line with the lore, or if it will be something that would be kind of something completely new and unexpected, and something that is just suddenly popping in. I think it will have an impact on how the people perceive also the characters and the overall story. There are two things which I have noticed also, which kind of make me a little bit wary. The facial expressions, most of the time they did look good in the trailers, in the first one, as well as during the gameplay, what we have seen, and also in this one. But there are little bits and pieces when you are focusing on the characters' faces, where you will notice that sometimes the facial expressions are like a little bit weird. I know it's a different style, it's not a realistic style of depicting the characters. We do know that we have, let's say, a more painted style, but still, I am just hoping that they will be able to avoid what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda when it came out. These weird facial animations that we have seen, which were just completely off, and it just, threw you out of the game. It was just something that people were like perceiving very negatively. So hopefully we will not see another repeat of the Andromeda game in terms of the facial animations. The other point from my side, but again, this is something which is a personal perception or a subjective view from my side, that Kunari, I just can't get over that man face. Sorry, that's not a female face for me. And in certain moments in this new trailer, it looked even uglier as it was looking in the original trailer. So this character is really looking super ugly to me, to be honest. I don't get the hype about it just because it's a Kunari, probably, I guess. But yeah, I'd rather try probably to create my own Kunari in the game if I want to play as a Kunari or see a Kunari in action rather than looking at that Tash character. It's just awful, to be honest. So yeah, but like I said, that's my subjective view. I'm pretty sure you have your own opinion about the characters. So far from my side, I do like the visual side. I do like the dialogue wheel, which a lot of people were actually also complaining about, but I think it's going back a little bit to the roots of the previous games. If I just remember from the top of my head, in Dragon Age 2, because I've played that one the most often, and I really went in for those sarcastic answers and options, and it did, let's say, shape a little bit the character. So whenever you proceeded in the game, you could see that the sarcastic answers do have an impact on how the people then talk back to you and how do they approach you when they are starting to talk to you. So I actually do like it. I just hope that there will be an option to ask more questions, to be honest. If you just give me an option to reply to something with a yes, and you give me a yes in 3 different styles, like happy yes and sarcastic yes and grumpy yes, it's still a yes. And you don't really give me any more options. It's not really RPG style of a dialogue. And then also give me more questions that I can ask my companions, whether it's about the current quest or whether it's about them or what's going on, etc. I would like to have more discussions. Again, I am comparing this now probably with the Mass Effect Andromeda game, which was the previous bigger game from BioWare. And I could see sometimes that I was kind of disappointed when I approached a character for the 3rd or 4th time and they already had nothing new to say, and they had nothing new to say for the rest of the entire game. So I'm hoping that there will be something more, or it will be distributed more evenly throughout the game so that you have a little bit here and then later on as well you can talk about something new, and then by the end of the game you get some additional information, maybe depending on what happened. So yeah, I would appreciate if there would be more, let's say, dialogue options. We do know that there will be hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogues. That was also revealed already. So I'm hoping that we'll not have the same situation repeating like it was with Andromeda. So from my side, I like the dialogue system or the dialogue wheel. I like the visuals. I am not so fond of the combat that was shown so far, to be honest. So that for me is a minus. And I think if I compare these 2 things, then what will be the deciding factor for me probably will be a story. How well it's written, how much sense does it make, right? So you want to know how it ties in with the previous events that have happened. It needs to make sense. Just because you have awesome characters there which look great and you can talk to them a lot, it doesn't mean that they are also well written. So how well are the characters written, and how the impact of those characters is on the story itself, that will be also very important to me. And in terms of these characters, I don't mean just like whom do they romance, or what their sexuality is or whatever. I don't really care, to be honest. For me, it's the romance options. It's an additional nice little perk that I have in a game, and when it is there, I tend to use it. But it's not the most important bit, and it shouldn't be the most important bit in an RPG game. It should be always the story, and it should be the combat, and I am still not convinced on that one. So for me, it's kind of a 50-50 for now. The last point regarding Veilguard before I switch to another topic is just today I have seen the PC requirements have been released. I know some of you are console gamers, but for those of you who are PC gamers, let me switch quickly back to the screen and let me just show you the PC requirements. Let me just open it. The Veilguard PC requirements have been revealed. The minimum requirements are really something where, where I think that we should be able to play it even with an older PC. I don't think there should be a problem. I would just advise for everyone to really update all of the drivers. That's probably like the alpha and omega with every new game these days. What might be a problem is the storage of 100 gigabytes. I'm not sure if everybody will have that much space. Probably people will have to, make some backups. But these are the minimum requirements. And as you can see, the processor The requirement is relatively low. Also the graphics. So you, like I said, you should be fine also with an older PC. And the recommended ideal is Intel Core i9 99K series or 3700X series from AMD, and NVIDIA at least 2070 RTX. So, but like I said, even if you have the minimum requirements only or an older PC, I still believe that the game will look good even on these smaller or lower requirements. So that's it. I will post the link as well below when I provide this section in a separate vid, so you can find all the links over there. This is the roadmap that we have received as well. So we have seen the release date. Next week, actually, we will get high-level combat and PC Spotlight, and that one gets my attention. High-level combat, hopefully we are going to see more, not just more of the skills active at the time, but also other classes. So I'm hoping that they are going to show us both the rogue as well as the mage as well as the warrior, and what the combat with the highest skills looks for them. That would be very important. The next week after that is Companions Week. I think they will be focusing more on the, let's say, background stories or more information about the companions. Yeah, I don't know if that is something that will have a big impact on how people are currently perceiving the game, whether positive or negative. Let's see. Then we will have on the 30th of August a developer Discord Q&A, again, as we had already before, I think in June, mid-June. So I'm hoping to see a recording of that, to be honest, because not everybody is able to join those Discord Q&As. Hopefully we'll get some more information here, and if there is something which is very important, I will definitely make again another separate vid on that. And then we have, during September, the first month-long exclusive coverage by IGN. We have seen one by the Game Informer so far, and unfortunately, as you all know, Game Informer is no more. Yeah, it is something that is a little bit of a shame, because I did like the way how they put together the information in short articles, and you were able to read through different topics in separate articles, and you didn't have like a big, huge one article with all sorts of info. So I'm wondering how IGN is going to do that. And yeah, much more info to come in September and beyond. So let me finish the topic for now here about Dragon Age. I hope that you liked all the info that I have provided. In case you have some questions, please post them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on some of the stuff that we have seen in the new trailer from yesterday. I'm really curious about how you perceive that one.